Story about racism in nursing that I think could blow your mind. So obviously, I'm Black, and we all know that there are not a lot of Black nurses, for one, let alone Black ICU nurses. I'm typically the only one on night shift, usually. Here in California, it's better, because I used to be in Wisconsin, but that's just how it is. And sure, you have your racist patients that are very confused and delirious and that will yell out slurs, whatever. I'm not talking about that. Okay, so this was back in Wisconsin, and I was working with a nurse. She was very nice, very helpful, very smart, very kind. And this nice nurse was giving a bed bath with our tech, and the tech was Black as well.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Cap Social Network, also known as Capri Social Network. So after hearing just a few seconds of this vid, or you could say this reel on behalf of TikTok, specifically the part where it's been incidents where she mentioned how she would have to tend to patients of the white race, which she was insinuating without saying it directly, mentioning or making racial slurs towards her by her being an African American nurse. This reminds me of around 10 years ago when I was working at a hospital in Bessemer, Alabama, which is a Birmingham suburb. And it was this one particular case when I talked to this one much older Black lady who if I could recall, happened to be a nurse while working there. Now, I was working in housekeeping during that specific time frame. Anyway, one particular time when I was holding conversation with her, she talked to me about a specific incident where she got ready to tend to a Caucasian patient, only for that patient to get that N-word out of my room, which is a perfect example of how this sister here mentioned just earlier in this clip, this short clip, once again via TikTok, of how you should expect to be made racial slurs towards and disrespected anytime you may work as a nurse, an African American nurse specifically, in the healthcare / medical care field. When that being said, and this is on behalf of data, both data and statistics, on behalf of also this website by the name of Cross River Therapy.com, if I'm saying it right, which mentioned how there are over in the US, the whole entire US of A, over 69% of white / Caucasian nurses. However, and unfortunately, only 11% of African American nurses. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is pretty sad, because I can't help but to wonder, why don't we have more African American nurses? Now, at the hospitals that I have worked at, I would see from time to time African American female nurses, more so than the few male nurses of African American descent. But they don't, according to the website and the statistics I just mentioned, they still don't count the ratio of African American nurses, especially female nurses, because that's one of the main career paths where you see the most women in the healthcare field. Unlike when doctors, a few African American doctors, which is disproportionately even more lower in ratio or percentage, are used to comprise of men. Anyway, I wanted to also give my feedback on, we need more African American nurses, due to the simple fact that I personally feel like even when it all comes down to working in the healthcare field and being a patient having to attend to patients of African American descent that only our own kind could relate more to our health problems. With that being said, anytime you go to the impoverished areas or the urban areas, have you people ever wondered, ladies and gentlemen, or ever noticed how even when you go to the hospitals in the urban areas or black areas, so to speak, when you go to hospitals, even those areas, you see more Caucasian nurses, Caucasian/white nurses, still, whether they may be either a woman in most cases, even a few male nurses. But it will make, am I right or wrong, wouldn't it make more sense to have more black nurses at hospitals in more impoverished areas and urban areas? I'm just saying. And I feel like even if when nurses, just from my vantage point, when nurses seem to get their own practices, black nurses that is, in some cases they like to have their own offices with their very own practices where they have people working for them, and usually in most cases employees that are black just like them, they usually like to have them open in much more affluent areas or white areas, so to speak. I'm just saying, I'm just speaking from experience, from my experiences, and based upon my perspective as a black male in his 40s. I'm also calling a spade as well, and addressing the elephant in the room, so to speak. Anyway, let me proceed.
And this nurse, she asked the tech, she's like, hey, I didn't grow up around black people, so I never really got a chance to ask this question. But do black people wash their hands, or do they just grease them up? When I hear this, first thing I do is laugh, because that is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. And then I got pissed, because that means you think that me, a black ICU nurse, does not wash your hands, which is putting my patients at an infection risk. Now you're insulting me personally. That was
also because the sole purpose of making this video, folks, ladies and gentlemen, is the trials and tribulations you usually have to deal when working as a nurse of African American descent in both the medical and healthcare field. And I also wanted to bring to mind how she was asked, this nurse, this sister you see in this clip, this TikTok clip, of how does she ever wash her hands when the kind of profession she is. And I'm assuming it was a Caucasian person, who knows, maybe more than one, who asked her that question. With that being said, they always want to paint that narrative, most white people, of how us as black people are some of the most filthiest and foul people on this planet, groups and races of people on this planet, when that's clearly not the case. Because I also want to add this in. There has been several cases when I have been in bathrooms, public bathrooms or restrooms, however you would like to say it, whereas I would be maybe in one when a Caucasian guy, and right after using the restroom, he would walk usually, or they would usually walk straight out the restroom without attempting to wash their hands at all. So on that note, that's clearly not the case of how white people always want to paint that narrative of how we're, as African Americans, some of the most filthiest, foulest, and nastiest races of people on the planet. Instead, they are some of the main ones. I'm calling a spade once again. And for all my white folks, the few that follow me, I do not give a fuck how offended you are. Fuck you and your feelings. Anyway, let me proceed.
Talked to with management, they handled it, whatever. Fast forward a week later, taking care of a patient. She has DKA, little black lady, and we're in morning huddle getting like the rundown on all of the patients with all the nurses in the morning. And she goes, man, I hate taking care of DKA patients. They're always little black ladies who steal stuff. So then I go up to my manager. I'm like, look, this is the second time I heard her say some racist ass shit. You guys have got to do something. This is unacceptable. Management handled it. But shout out to the tech, because she called HR anonymously and was like, hey, this is what this nurse has been saying. The management team is aware, but I think this needs to be escalated. And she was fired less than a week later. But here's the bigger problem. She was fired. She's in NP school. And then she went to work at a different hospital in the area, maybe 15 minutes away. And the hospital that she's working at now, or was working at, it's a lower income hospital. If you know, you know. But the fact that she is now taking care of a majority of black and brown people is scary. And she actually got that job as a travel assignment, making double what she was making. And that just goes to show you, if you're racist in America, you can get away with anything. Nobody gives a fuck.
I need y'all to do y'all thing. Y'all know the thing. I need y'all to blow this video up. I want everybody to see this video. I'm talking about all nurses, all CNAs, healthcare administrators, the transporters that walk in the hallways. I want everybody to share this. If you are in the healthcare field, share this video. Like this video. Comment on this video. This needs to be on everybody For You page, because I need this lady that profiled me and was being a little racist to see my face again. So I need y'all to blow this video up. Okay, so let's get into it. A woman was not satisfied with her care that she received at our busy, very, very busy emergency room. Her child was seen. I'm not going to even get into all of that because, HIPAA and all the things. But she was very upset with the care that she got. So as she's walking out the door, she is cursing, nursing staff out and being very loud and rude. So as she's walking out the door, she starts saying effing. I'm going to say effing. I won't say the actual words so we can, be kind of professional. So she was like, y'all didn't give my child no effing Tylenol, no effing Motrin. I guess I have to go to Walgreens and do it my effing self. That's how she said it. So as she's saying these things, as she's walking out the door, she didn't look at our sign that's on these doors, because if you work in any emergency, pediatric, anything, the doors are locked. Like, we have security for obvious reasons. So of course the door was locked. She did not hit the button to get out, the door. So she's trying to get out and she's pushing on these double doors, but you cannot get out because you have to hit the button on the wall. So I said, okay, before you do that, you're going to have to push the button on the wall so you'll be able to get out. That's all I said. She comes back, mad as elf, and she punches the button on the wall. So she storms out. I kid you guys not even 30 seconds later, I get a call on the phone. I answer the phone. Hello, PCD, this is Karen speaking. How may I help you? Y'all know it's this lady that just walked out. Is this the black girl that was being rude AF to me? Is this the black girl that's doing this and that? I said, no, this is not her. Because who are you calling the black what? I am furious at this point. Life for part 2, because I don't have time. I got to go to work. But I want to keep telling y'all this story. Blow it up.
Of course, I'm the only black nurse on my unit. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, anytime I say something, people think I have an attitude. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, I've been told I'm intimidating. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, I've been confused as the scrub tech or the patient care tech. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, I've been asked if I am a LVN or an RN. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, I've had my assignment changed because the patient didn't want to have a black nurse. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, if I'm quiet all day at work, people think there's something wrong. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, when I'm doing my job efficiently and correctly, I've been told I'm doing too much. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, all of the hair under my scrub cap is mine. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, I've had people tell me how much longer they've been a nurse than me without me even having to ask them. I'm a black nurse in healthcare. Of course, I've had people come up to me and say, "Smile, Angelica."
Black, I need you to watch this. First of all, I've been a nurse for 10 years and I can say all the things that I want to say because I don't work for anyone else but myself and my friends. But let's get into that later. When you work in certain specialties that traditionally Black nurses have not been able to get into, there will be a moving target on your back. If you have a social media, they will find it. If you make a joke online that has nothing to do with work, they will say that it's about work and about them. They will lie and they will backstab. There are a few things that I want you to know to help you get through this. Number one, you are not crazy. It is happening to you. But I want you to find someone that you trust, and oftentimes that person is not going to be someone that you work with. Second, when you are being targeted or attacked, document everything. Write it down. You will need it. Third thing, you are not a tree. You are not planted anywhere. You can always get up and leave. Lastly, it's not on you, it's in you, and it does